Welcome back to the Football Happy Hour here on CBS Sports HQ as we take a look at the AFC East standings. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The New York Jets at 3-2 in second place in the division behind the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are who we thought they were at 4-1. The Dolphins started 3-0. Now they've started to slide back. Quarterback problems there. We talk about quarterback situations. That's a problem in Miami right now. But the Jets at 3-2 a surprise. Perhaps even the Patriots at 2-3 a bit of a surprise. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Brady Quinn, Leger Douzable, and Danny Kanell. Leger, I got to come to you first here. Who are these New York Jets?
Well, before I start, I just got to, my old teammate Brady over here, you know, it really hurts my heart that you didn't believe in my New York Jets. It really hurts my heart.
Are we celebrating the season after 5 games?
It hurts my heart that you didn't believe in my New York Jets.
You should have heard between the break. In the break, you should have heard. Yeah, these guys going back and forth.
But you know what? God did. He believed in us.
But no, talking about you're going to need God the next few weeks in the schedule.
We'll see. I mean, that's what they said in the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
But, right, this team is built the right way. Joe D wanted to build it from, the line of scrimmage back. Now, people were talking, and the Jets struggled the first couple games. Well, it's hard to play when you're on your 5th offensive tackle. I don't think people talked about that enough, right? You got Mekhi Becton as a first-round pick. He goes out with an injury. You do all you can. You bring in Dwayne Brown, who had not had any injury histories. He goes out before the season starts. George Fant, a guy that played really well at left tackle, he gets banged up in the first 2 weeks. He's on IR. You're left with your 4th-round pick, Max Mitchell, and he's actually playing well for you. And then guess what? He goes down last week. So now you got guys coming off the street playing. You got Elijah Vera Tucker. To me, it's going to suck because he's played so many positions. I don't even know where you vote him in at Pro Bowl. He deserves to be in the Pro Bowl.
He did in college, though, too, so he's prepared
for
the
But he never
transition.
played right tackle.
Understanding that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you go back to his college days, he moved around a lot of USC, so he's got some experience.
But I think that's still a lot harder to do in the league. It's just because,
But they're a 3-2 football team.
Yeah, but people thought they were going to be 0-5.
Well, look, I never said they were going to be 0-9. I said they wouldn't be favored in the first 9 games.
Yes,
and it was a daunting schedule.
It was.
It still is, by the way.
They got the Packers this week.
They got the Packers in Lambeau. It's different when you got the Packers. When you got the Packers in Lambeau, you're like, okay, that's a different challenge.
You're right.
Let's just go back over the season, though.
Let's do it.
I mean, you had the Browns who they beat. It was a backup quarterback. It gave up
They gave that game away.
Browns gave that game away. But again, give Jets credit. Joe Flacco found a way to make some plays at the end to win it. Then they get a nice win at Pittsburgh. By the way, Pittsburgh, who dropped a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter. And by the way, they have a rookie backup who ended up coming in for Mitchell Trubisky. But we'll give the Jets some credit.
Wow.
Let's go back to
like
past
excuses.
Hey,
Danny, you're getting left out in the cold here.
We start off with the Jets at home, but by the way, I took the Jets in the 3 points, so thank you very much.
We covered that very easily.
You did, very easily. And look, I was surprised they weren't favored, but again, our friends out in Vegas still don't believe in this team. And an act of God occurred where Teddy Bridgewater gets knocked out to the point where you can't even pass the concussion protocol test to come back in the game. Yeah. Now you're facing another backup, but instead of 3rd-string, 7th-round pick, a rookie quarterback in Skylar Thompson. So, all good wins. Give Jets all the credit. Breece Hall looked amazing.
He did.
He carried that offense, almost 200 total yards himself.
Correct.
You look at Sauce Gardner, these young DBs. We talk about two. We are on lockdown. The young players they've drafted are stepping up.
Playing really well.
The question now becomes, if they could beat Green Bay in Green Bay, and look, the Packers don't look great.
Yeah, true.
But if they can do that as a 7-point underdog, because they're an underdog again, now you've got my attention. This thing's real moving forward.
Yeah, Danny, I'll let you go real quick. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would just say, the thing that you also have to look at, I think the change happened the second half of the Bengals. Right? If you look at what they did on defense, routinely this defense blitzes a lot, goes man coverage on 3rd down. Well, they got out of that because Joe Burrow made them get out of that.
You can't
now you got this high-priced defensive line. You're finally letting them, thrive and get after the quarterback. Quentin Williams has played really well. Carl Lawson the last 2 weeks has been unstoppable. He had a sack, forced fumble, and 7 quarterback hits Sunday. So I think this is the recipe for the Jets to win. If that defensive line can continue to play, and if you look at Robert Saleh when he was in San Francisco, it was based off the defensive line. That's what he wants to do with the New York Jets. You were just talking about Jermaine Johnson. He's actually played well. He just can't get on the field because there's so many guys, and he actually got banged up. It's a deep rotation.
I thought they crushed it in the draft. I thought they had the best draft of anybody. They had a lot of picks. I think you can make an argument they had the best wide receiver, the best defensive back, and the best running back, and maybe the best pass rusher. Right. I mean, all of those guys were in that conversation, and they've got production out of all of them early. I hate to say it, dudes. I'm more with Brady on this.
Oh, God,
you have to look at the schedule, but that is part of the NFL, is getting kind of lucky at certain times. Yeah. And you know what? They are at least going out and winning those games against some of the backups that are playing, and that can get the momentum going in the right direction. There's a belief there I'll believe it more if I see him go to Lambeau, though, because I think the worst thing that happened to the Jets is the fact the Giants won in London this past weekend.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get ticked off, very tuned in Packers teams can be ready for the Jets.
That's the surprising thing to me, too, is when you look at the two New York teams, the Giants not only are in a better division, I think. I mean, looking like the Bills is the best team.
Yeah.
I don't know that's as much parity in the AFC East right now, at least looking at the Patriots, looking at the Dolphins' quarterback issues. But then you're looking at what's happened so far in the NFC East. The Giants have been the better team and maybe even the bigger surprise. Like, I think people felt the Jets were building to that. At least that was some of the narrative.
Yeah.
And they're not getting as much love at the Jets right now. They're sitting at 4-1.
I mean, coaching matters, right?
Heck yeah.
People, but I know we're going to talk about the Giants. But going back, because I know you have some issues with maybe Zach Wilson. I mean, if you
Hold on.
you said they're going to go back to the drawing board.
No, I said if they're a 5-12, 6-11 football team,
I don't think they'll be a 5-12.
they'll be in striking distance of one of those top quarterbacks. And in my opinion, Bryce Young is one of the best prospects I have seen in the past 2 decades. Yeah. He plays the position as well as anyone I've seen in a long, long time. If you're the New York Jets and you're sitting there with a chance to take one of those quarterbacks, whether it's Will Levis we talked about, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, who probably will win the Heisman this year, you have to contemplate that. You have to look at that. Because you're going to have a higher grade on those guys than you had on Zach Wilson coming out. I can promise you that based on the tape you're seeing from them and what Zach Wilson did as a prospect. My thing that I said was I wasn't as high on his coming out into the draft, and that doesn't change with the prospects we're going to have in next year's draft. Those guys are all studs.
They are.
Okay. Let's continue the Jets conversation next week. After it could be a very different conversation if they go to Lambeau.
If they lose? I mean, what
if
happens
they go to
if they
Lambeau.
lose?
Okay.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.